G'day, my name's Chris Anderson and welcome to the Ando and Co podcast. Today, I'm really excited to be sitting down with Colin Campbell, who's a guy who I met around 2015. He was working in a different Keller Williams office in Ontario, and he was showing up every day for this class that we had called Bold, doing what we'd call is a Bold 100, which means 100 contacts every day, which was a hell of a lot more than everyone else in the class was doing at the time. And I'm excited to see that a lot has happened from a success perspective since then to show that all that activity definitely pays off. So I guess, Colin, what can you tell us about yourself?
Chris, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, my brother. We need to have you visit Canada again. It's always great having you. Like you rightfully said, us being in Bold, but more importantly, who am I first? I'm a father, I'm a husband. That's it. I just
Awesome.
happen to trading real estate, right? And that, for me to even start off with a conversation like, this is who I am, before I would introduce myself as my name, and this was my position.
Mm-hmm.
I was a district manager, I was this, I was that, I had the company car, all of these perks. And at one point, I was working for, Radio Shack. I don't know what's the equivalent of that in Costa Rica. And I'm sorry, I was talking to somebody from Costa Rica before in Australia, whether it's your Best Buy, your tech store, and I was laid off a Thursday afternoon, because it's apparently you don't lay people off on a Friday because they don't have support to reach out to.
Okay.
A Thursday, they called me into the office and they said, could you come into the office for a 11 o'clock meeting? Please bring your laptop, your phone, the car. We want to chat. Okay. And it was basically saying, this is your package. Thank you very much. Next. Mm-hmm. This is a company that I worked at. I worked my way up from a part-time sales associate. Now I'm district manager. I'm running, 20 stores. I'm on track to be the youngest vice president in the company. And then within a split of a second, I'm walking out with my box of all my belongings and a taxi's waiting downstairs for me.
Wow. And what were the thoughts running through your head at the time?
How is this possible?
Yeah.
It's not real. My drive home was about a 40 minutes drive with the taxi. And I remember crying the entire way.
Yeah. And when you say crying, is it supporting my family? How is it that this happens to me? What was the key thing? Like,
well, it's like, shit. How can this work out? We purchased a home, a year ago. At this point, my daughter is, just over a year old. Mm-hmm. I have two kids, so my son and my daughter. My wife's a teacher. I was bringing in, the main breadwinner. I was bringing in most of the money there. Mm-hmm. And now I don't have any of that. Mm. And I'm in this taxi ride home and I'm thinking, why me? How is this possible? And I got home, I let my wife know, and she said, you know what? We'll figure this out.
Awesome.
She said, we'll figure this out. After that, I stayed home, and I was a stay-at-home dad for a year and a bit. Mm-hmm. Year and a bit, while my wife goes to work, she would go to work, and she would be teaching. I would go down I would take the kids out, because at this point they're very young, mm-hmm. A year and a bit. So we're going to the parks, we're doing stuff. I'm the stay-at-home dad. We're doing all these things. Then I would put them to sleep mid-morning, and again I would go down in my basement and cry.
Wow.
Because my job was my identity.
Yeah.
I'm a big deal. I'm a district manager. I have the company credit card, all of this. Mm-hmm. When that happened, now I can look back at it. I'm grateful for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely grateful for the experience because it allowed me to connect with my kids on such a deeper level. So we did that for a year and a bit. We were at the parks, we played. I remember teaching them their ABCs
Mm-hmm.
and watching Sesame Street, watching, Count Dracula, Elmo. A lot of the songs are still in my head, right? But going through that experience with them was a beautiful experience. And it allowed me to be the father that I want to be with my kids, where I'm present.
Mm-hmm.
So another lesson I learned from that is don't ever associate my identity with any position.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Who's Colin first? Who's Colin? What's most important to me? I want to be the best father possible to my kids, and I want to be the best husband to my wife. So that's what I strive for every day. So that's who I am. I'm also, a son, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, and all these things. Has nothing to do with my position, because
Mm-hmm.
any position can come and go. This is who I am to the core.
Mm.
Right. So after that position, got back into the working industry, but I also learned at that point where my mark is. And I almost drew a line in the sand. If at any point work gets to a point where it's causing me to lose myself, lose my identity, I'm going to just pick up and leave.
Mm. Okay.
So, went into other retail positions, managing big companies and so on. The last position I was at, I'm there and, I'm working. And I came home and I told my wife, I was like, babe, I've been doing everything that I need to do at this position. I'm just not happy anymore.
Okay.
And my crazy wife says, I love her to death. She says, then leave the job. And again, we'll figure it out. She said, we've done it in the past. So thanks for her support is where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So she said that leave the position and, we'll figure it out. That night I wrote my resignation.
Okay.
I was like, yep, I'm going to hand this in. Next morning, I got up, I went in my car, I drove to work, and I did that every day for the next 9 months with my resignation letter in my car.
Wow.
Because I'm afraid to hand it in. I don't want to go back to the point where my wife is doing everything, she's working and she's providing for all of us. What does that stress, what does that struggle look like? I don't want to go back there. And then I slowly start to see that line being crossed where I'm not happy. The fulfillment is not there. I'm coming home and I'm really not, there with them mentally or physically.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife reminded me, she said, this can not just hurt your health. It can also hurt your relationship with her and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, no, I got to protect this at all costs. Handed in my resignation, and my manager at the point said, did you win the lottery or something? Why on earth would you resign?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you got everything going for you. I was like, I'm just not happy. And I thank you very much. After that was done, got straight into real estate. The next day I started studying for real estate. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. I would say study, get your license, and then quit. I did it backwards. I quit, got my license, and studied. I studied like I was studying for the bar exam.
Mm.
I literally damaged my eyes in the 6 months period because every day I was just reading a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally damaged my eyes during that point. So now I got my real estate license, joined Keller Williams as a real estate broker. Like, okay, now I'm going to go make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like every agent thinks that way. you
How
know the
else
reality of
how
it,
else could it
right?
not be like that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I got into the industry and it's like, okay, this requires work. Let me get in there and let me just start talking to people. I was in real estate for my first 9 months. I didn't do a single deal.
Mm.
all the monies that we had put aside, save, I was into that money. And I was back to that dark place where I was first laid off.
Yeah.
I'm back to that place now where there isn't enough money for the remainder days in the month. So at that point, my wife and I started chatting, and we decided that we're going to get help from the food bank. And we started going to the food bank, who would help us with, meals for the week. And at that point, I remember specifically, at this point, we've been using now the food bank for, a couple of months. I got my first listing. I'm excited with that, but we're still using it because that money doesn't come in for another 90 days. Right? So that's the beauty of real estate, right? So that money takes a while to roll in. We're still going to the food bank. So one Saturday, my wife is getting ready to leave home and go to the food bank. And she said, all right, I'll be back in a bit. And there was just that look in her eyes that I saw it as disappointment. Not disappointment in me. And if I were to ask her, she would say no. But it was just that glimpse in her eyes. And I was like, I can't let my family do this. I can't put them through that. So I started going, like crazy. I was door knocking every day. And then I started cold calling. And this is where we met.
Yeah.
Because when we met, I'm still in that phase where I'm at the food bank. However, I decided at that point in my career, I need success like right away. And I know the more people that I spoke to, the more contacts I made, the more contracts I will write. And it was a math formula. I talk to more people, I'm going to do more business. So my one goal every day was just to go out and talk to the most people as possible. That is why I was relentless every day in doing the Bowl 100. Yeah, not right. Just so everyone can look around the room and think, okay, he's the hardest worker in the room. No, I want to provide for my family. So there you go.
Interesting. And I think the big thing for me is that the interesting thing about being a salesperson is people, regardless of what's happening in your life, people will pick up how you feel. People will pick up on the vibe that you put out. And at no point would I have realized in those classrooms, when you show up with a big smile on your face, well dressed, ready to go, putting in the work every day, at no point did I feel like if this guy were to have a sales conversation with me, I could sense his desperation. Like every day you just showed up like looking like $1 million, ready to work hard, ready to do deals. I never would have been able to pick that.
And what I learned in that same time is trust the process, right? I know as long as I go there and I do the work, the business will come. It's the law. It's a law. It's the law of sowing and reaping. Just like there's the law of gravity, there's the law of sowing and reaping. You jump off a building, you're gonna fall to the ground. The law of sowing and reaping says you put in the work, you're gonna reap those rewards. It might not be when you want it, but you're gonna reap those rewards. It's like a farmer going out into the field and planting seeds. He's gonna go out there every day and he's gonna plant those seeds. Some of those seeds, birds will, eat some of them. Some of them, they might land on rocks where they're not going to be on fertile ground. But the ones that catch, they're going to bear fruit. So my goal every day was just to go there and plant seeds. So I believed in that law with every fiber in me. So that is why, desperation never came across like, I have to get this deal. For me, it's just talking to as many people as possible.
And just starting out with door knocking in Toronto or just outside Toronto, 4 months of winter, how was it when you went door knocking, how many hours in a day were you doing it generally for, and how long did it take you? And I guess, how did that then compare to then be able to make those contacts on the phone later?
I would be out there about 3 hours every day.
Okay.
And I door knocked an entire year without missing a day. When
Wow.
I say without missing a day, Sundays were my day off, holidays were my day off.
Yep.
But apart from, my days off and holidays, I was out every single day door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would door knock half a day on Saturday, well, half the time on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
right? It would be like 2 hours on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just going out there and do that. And then that switchly change from being on the doors to the phones, because I made that switch.
Mm-hmm.
The more contacts I made, the more contracts I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to more people. They're getting engaged. Yes, they want to buy or sell. So I've spoken to 20 people, and 5 of them decide they want to transact in real estate within the next 6 to 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly, that's a 25% conversion there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if I spoke to 100 people?
Mm-hmm.
Is the math still right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the talking to 100 people every day came from.
Awesome. And how were you able to hold yourself accountable to do that every day? What was it that drove you to be able to do that so consistently?
I think when your back's against the wall, you realize how strong you really are.
Mm.
Right. And my back was against the wall. And it was a point in my life that I never want to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I come to work, I'm creating as much distance between myself and that wall. That is how I see it. I don't ever want to go back to that wall. So every work that I put in is to get as far away as possible from that wall.
So you've always got that as a reminder to say, and it's possible to go back there, do the work, you won't go back there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put into work, so I'm going to stay as far as possible from this. So that requires talking to as many people. That requires waking up early. That requires to being the first in the office, sometimes the last to leave. That requires putting in the extra half an hour. That requires going the extra mile, because most people don't go the extra mile.
And just walk me through the some of the habits you have in place that allow you to do what you do at the moment. You mentioned waking up early. I know you do the contracts every day. What else do you do? And how early do you wake up?
Yeah, on average, I'm up between 4 and 4:30 every day. We mentioned this before. I haven't used an alarm clock in over 20 years. My body clock just wakes me up at that point. However, and I want to be careful how this is said. I go to bed extremely early.
Okay.
9:30, I'm in bed.
Mm-hmm.
10 o'clock is me, like a late night. My wife is looking at me as like, whoa, it's a party night tonight for you or what?
Yeah.
So because my body requires so much sleep, but then I'm up, right? And I like studying successful people. I read a lot of books, and none of my books are fiction. They're all self-help books. And I like to say I study successful people because my goal is to be successful. And there's a lot of things there are a lot of common traits with successful people. They write their goals down. They're disciplined in certain areas. Most of them wake up early. So when I start studying successful people and I see these common traits, I was like, okay, I can do this. Write your goals down. Wake up early. Be disciplined in certain areas. Stick to your goals. Be committed. And because I intend to be successful and I want to build not just a great life for myself, but create the legacy. And I see here's the roadmap that most successful people follow. All I need to do is just follow the roadmap.
And it's interesting. I've seen through social media that you seem to have quite a lot of goals. What's your process for writing down all these goals, and how many goals do you have at this stage?
Right now, it's close to 500 right now. And I think it was Jim Rohn that says, just start writing your goals down. Just start writing your goals down. And a lot of my goals some are big goals and some are just small goals. One of my goals, for instance, is to donate $5 million anonymously.
Okay.
Right. So that's one. Another one is to create 100 millionaires. But there are also small goals. Go to a restaurant, eat, and not look at the price point of the menu.
Right.
That was a big goal for me, because coming from the struggles that I went through, not having enough. Now, you're getting support from the food bank to help feed you. I would like to order the steak at $60. However, the chicken looks nice at, 25. So let me order the chicken. So that was just one of the goals that I wrote down. Just go have a beautiful meal with your family and not look at the price. That was a goal that I would tell you I only checked off like 3 years ago.
Wow.
But it's such a simple goal.
Yeah.
Right. So my goals, they vary. Every time something comes to mind, it's on my phone and I just write it down. Okay, what about, taking my kids to Dubai and we skydive over, the Palm Islands? Great. That's a great experience. Let me make that as a goal. And the reason I write it all down is so that I can be specific. Right? I can be very specific about it. So now it allows me to achieve it. Because if my goal is just to make more money, okay, how much money do you want to make? Is it $5 more? Is it $2 more? Is it 500,000 more? Is it 5 million more? So when it's that specific, it allows me to focus and it allows me to achieve it. I will guarantee you were to write all your goals down, write 100 of them down, within the next year, you'll find yourself checking off at least 25 of them. Because naturally, you're going to surround yourself with people who will help you achieve those goals. Your brain, your RAS will connect to the things that, you're looking for, and it'll start finding solutions to it. So that's why I write my goals down, and I just keep adding to them.
Interesting. Yeah, you mentioned the giving $5 million away anonymously. One of the stories that I connected with was from a book, and I don't know how I was recommended it, but it's called The Billionaire Who Wasn't. And
Yes.
It's the story of Conor O'Cleary, and he made a hell of a lot of money. Like, he's given away well over, I think it's over 3 billion in his lifetime or something like that.
Wow.
And he just realized that he built this massively successful business, but he didn't feel successful until he was just making things happen for people. Like you say, 100 millionaires. Like, that's the sort of goal that maybe makes you feel successful, rather than having other people might have $1 billion in their bank and only worry about themselves. But if your goal is to create a team of people who are all succeeding, then depending on the way you're wired, then maybe that's a hell of a lot more motivating for you. How has that been for you in terms of going from being a single agent to running a team, and where does that fit in the timeline for you?
That fit in the timeline because I started off, like you rightfully said, started off as a single agent. And then I partnered with a gentleman who had his real estate license. He was in the business for some time now. And after some time in our partnership, we realized he was terminally ill. Cancer. And after that, a year and a bit later, he passed away. And here is somebody who was a friend, a mentor, passed away. He's been in the business, for so many years, close to 30 years in the business. And when all was said and done, there wasn't a lot there.
Okay.
Right. And I quickly realized I now need to treat this as a business, because most real estate agents don't treat real estate as a business. The moment you stop selling real estate, you stop on that treadmill,
Mm-hmm.
you'll stop making money. So as a business now, you don't have to be on that treadmill every day.
Mm.
How can you make your, I think it was 50 cents that said that you're not making money until you're making money when you're sleeping,
Okay.
right? So then is when you know you have a business. So at that point, I click into, instead of me doing this by myself, let's create a team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started a team shortly thereafter, had a very successful team. Now I'm at that level, I'm still running the team, and I'm looking at what is the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of now running the team, how can I own the brokerage?
Mm.
That became the next level. And it's been close to a year now that I've taken over the brokerage, but there's always another goal, right?
Mm.
And the goal is freedom. That is
Yeah.
the goal, to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, and to give as much away as possible.
Mm.
Money, and the goal is, it's not just money anymore. Money is good for the good it can do for others.
Mm.
So now if I can teach, show people how to make money, now I'm not just changing that person's life, I'm almost changing their family tree.
Mm-hmm.
They can now go out there and build a legacy. And I had a small part to do with that.
Mm. And I guess just thinking back to even before the story of you working at Radio Shack, I understand you're from Guyana beforehand.
Yes, Guyana, correct. Yeah.
How how does the family feel in Guyana about all that you're up to over in Toronto?
Well, I'm the eldest of seven,
Okay.
right? Seven of us. So I came to, next week will be 20 years since I've been in Canada.
Wow.
I came to Canada with $300 in my pocket,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've added a few zeros since then, thank God. But the beauty is when I came to Canada, 4 years later, I sponsored my entire family, my mom,
Oh,
my stepdad, and my siblings.
wow.
So now they're all here.
Holy.
Yes. And when they first came to Canada, they were living with us. So could you imagine 10 people in your house with, so you have your wife and
Yeah.
your two kids
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
10.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had them, they moved in with us. They lived with us for 6 months. And it was basically said, okay, we're gonna help you, do what needs to be done to get you on your feet. But after 6 months, you're gonna be moving out on your own,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you're gonna either start renting and so on. When it
Mm-hmm.
came time for them to move out to rent, my wife and I, we looked at it as, instead of having them rent, why don't we just buy a house and have them rent from us?
Oh, cool.
Right? So we bought a house, had my family rent from us.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same principle that I want to create the millionaires, I taught that to my family first. Okay, we're going to have mom buy our house first, and then she's going to move out. And then my brother, he's going to buy and then move out. And that is what I did. And
Really?
now pretty much all of them have moved out. They have their own home. They have their own businesses. My brother, one of my brother, he's a contractor. He employs like 7 people. My other brother works for Apple as a manager there, right? They're all in business.
Wow. And is this something that they were doing back in Guyana, or is this something that they've learned since they moved to Toronto?
Well, my mom is the ultimate entrepreneur
Okay.
because she was a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
So raising 7 kids was tough. So she was always, she's an ultimate entrepreneur. So there, it's looking for opportunity.
Mm.
So for every one of them, this is not what they did back home. They
Mm.
came here, they saw the opportunity. My brother, who is a contractor renovator, and he does a lot of business, he has an accounting degree.
Okay.
However, you come to a new country, you look for the opportunities. and that was a skill for him. My family, they're very hands-on.
Hmm.
I'm not.
Okay.
I manage people. I manage my family.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
sister, she'll go in, she'll paint the room, she'll knock out this wall and put up a next wall. I can't do that. I'll
Okay.
manage her, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do that. So it's understanding your strengths and playing within it, and also always looking for opportunities because they're everywhere.
Mm. Can you give me an example of an opportunity that popped up for you that just some out of nowhere that's played out well for you, like something that stands out?
Well, the same one that I mentioned with when they were looking to rent.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking to rent, and we've taken them around. We had a real estate agent helping us. We went around, looked at homes, and then a home almost 3 blocks from us, the the people were thinking of selling it. So I said, what would you consider selling it for? They give me a price. And then I went back home and I said to my wife, I think we can make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Reached out to the bank, had a great relationship with the bank manager. She's like, yeah, we could pull this together.
Yeah, right.
And that was an opportunity. They were
Mm.
still close to us. So my kids, they're coming home from school, can still go stay with my mom. But that was an opportunity that could easily be passed up, right? Don't get me wrong, I've missed out on many opportunities as well.
Mm.
But knowing that, having that mentality where you're always looking for opportunities, you'll see more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned moving from a single agent running a team, now running a brokerage. Walk me through what it's like to run a brokerage and just how big that brokerage is, and also the leadership that you had leading up to now being able to step into that leadership role within the brokerage. What can you tell
Um,
us about that?
so moving from, running a team of, 4 agents to now running a brokerage of 240 agents,
Mm.
it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
However, everything that I've done in my life has led me to this point.
Mm.
Manager at Radio Shack, a district manager, various sales positions,
Hmm.
the books that I'm reading. Over the last 2.5 years, all I've been reading was leadership books.
Wow.
All my books were on leadership. So when an opportunity like this showed up for me to buy the brokerage, I was ready.
Mm.
There's no way I would have been able to, buy the brokerage if I wasn't ready mentally.
Mm.
And it's the same principle where there's these TV shows where people that win the lottery, they go back broke in 5 to 7 years. I think they say 95% of everybody that wins the lottery goes back broke in 5 years
Hmm.
because they didn't become a millionaire in their own mind,
Mm.
because you're using the same habits of someone who's just accustomed to spending money.
Mm.
So for me to be a leader, I was preparing for this position all along, intentionally or unintentionally.
Hmm.
So when the position opened up, mentally I was ready. I developed my leadership skills over the time. I was ready. Financially, I made certain moves where I was ready.
Mm. And what have you?
So it,
Sorry, go on.
I think it's rare that our we should never stop learning,
Hmm.
and having that pursuit of knowledge, or that eagerness to get better, that in itself is what allows us to live our truest potential.
Mm. And I think the one of the really helpful things for me when I was working at Keller back in Toronto was the culture of the brokerage was that the agents would come in and teach, and you'd always get opportunity to learn from leaders to find out what they were doing. And it was effectively an open book situation
Yes.
where other agents could come in and learn from these people as well. But there would be, if you were wanting to learn from other people in the same business as you, there would always be opportunities. Are there certain people that you met along the way that you just went, oh, this person's doing exactly what I need to be doing, and I want to follow in their footsteps?
Absolutely. I remember, like, there's so many people that I don't know, and there's no shot to any other brokerages out there, but Keller Williams is the only one I know. If I weren't at Keller Williams, would I have been where I am today? I doubt it. Because of that culture of teamwork, of collaborating, of wanting to see you succeed as much as I want to see myself succeed. Right? It's also having mentors, people who have gone before you. Because I don't need to relive all their experiences. I just need to learn from their experiences.
Yeah.
Right. And that is why I read so many books. I'm mentored by Warren Buffett because I've read his books. Right. In today's day and age, you can be mentored by anyone dead or alive because there's so much information and material out there from that person. So I'm always looking to gain knowledge that way, but also looking at people who has built a business or where you're looking to go to, or what are one of your goals, who's achieved those goals already. Right? And then you surround yourself with people like that. So knowingly or unknowingly, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I started surrounding myself with, big leaders, people who own many brokerages, many locations. So I'm learning from them. Awesome. So naturally, you start hanging out with a bunch of millionaires. Naturally, you'll be the next millionaire. Right? They say you're the average of the 5-7 people you surround yourself with. So I was always raising my lead. I never wanted to be the smartest person in the room. I wanted to be in a room and look around and think, how on earth did I get in here? Right? How did I get in here? I'm grateful that I'm in this room because this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Most people want to be in a room where they're the center of attention and all that knowledge, and people are coming to them for all that knowledge and information. When I die, I wanted to be on my tombstone that said student.
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm constantly learning, and I want to learn from as many people as possible. All of my goals, somebody has done it before. I just need to connect with people who've done it, learn from their mistakes.
And with everything that you've done, have you had help along the way? Have you worked with a coach? And I guess at what point did that start stepping in for you, if that was the case?
Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
Now I can expand.
Okay.
No man's an island. Nobody succeeds alone. Nobody succeeds alone. Everyone who's given you that little encouragement, that high five, that pick you up when you were feeling down, a little nudge in the right direction, they're all a part of your success. Everyone that I came in contact with throughout the brokerage in my previous careers, they're a part of my success. I'm grateful for everyone in my past and my present as well, because my success, they're also a part of my success. So I would like to start off with that. We never do it alone. You're not an island. And who knows what it would have been like if, one day I was down and I'm feeling down on myself, and that agent didn't come into the office and say, I just admire how you just keep going, even though when you're hearing 100 no's every day. That gave me the strength to go a little bit extra. That person is a part of my success. Now, formally, do I have a coach? I hired a coach 6 years ago. And the reason I hired a coach, studying successful people, you realize, all professionals, they have a coach, right? basketball players, football players, soccer players, boxers, all
Mm.
professionals have a coach. I consider myself a professional. Why don't I have a coach?
Okay.
And a coach doesn't necessarily mean that they need to, sell 500 homes or 1,000 homes. A coach just helps you just look at a coach sees your blind spots and
Mm.
see where you're stepping in your own way and say, hey, just step out of your own way right now. Or have you considered this? Have you thought of this?
Mm.
What if we were to change this? That's what a coach does. So I'm extremely grateful for my coaches, whether it's a formal coach or
Mm-hmm.
just people that I can sit down with and just talk and share ideas with. Because they're not the only people that have coached me, my formal coach,
Mm.
people in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. The people in my circle, they're constantly coaching me and they're constantly allowing me to think bigger, strive for more. I remember being in a group, and one time my goal was, to create 5 millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a group, a small group of us, and it was like, I think it was 5 or 6 of us in the group at that point. And I said, yeah, my goal is to create 5 millionaires. And almost everyone in the group looked around to me and said, why are you being so selfish?
Really?
5 millionaires? Why just 5? If you
Wow.
want to make an impact on this planet, 5 is enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
My goal was to give away, $1 million over time. And they're like, $1 million? What can a million, how many people's lives can $1 million change?
Mm-hmm.
My goal was to feed 100 family every Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they're turning around and say, Colin, stop being selfish. 100 families. So every year after that, I started doubling it. Then 200 families. Last year, we fed 500 families. This year, we're going to feed 1,000 families.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I'm grateful for these people who are constantly pushing me, right? And allowing me to think bigger and strive for bigger things.
And just thinking about all the things that you do, getting up early, reading the books, putting in the calls, running the business. When do you switch off?
Uh, there's this famous thing on YouTube that says, "Here's to the crazy ones."
Yep. See
Right?
that one?
I just love it. Every now and again, I play it. The truth is, it's hard to switch off, um, and that is why I meditate now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meditating now for 4 years, and that is just to quiet my mind.
Mm.
And meditation has taught me to be present, right? When I'm having dinner with my family, I
Mm.
can be present and in the moment
Mm.
and not think about how do I go bigger, faster, stronger,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what I'm always thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can quiet that part of my mind and say, no, we're having dinner. We're going to just chill. And I'm going to find out how my kids were in school, what they're doing, and be engaged in that conversation. I don't have to worry, is the phone ringing? Is the TV on? None of that. So meditation has taught me how to just be present. I haven't mastered it as yet. That
Yeah.
is why I'm still meditating every day. So, right. So the goal is every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Awesome. And while you're climbing this mountain, while you've gone from manager of Radio Shack to getting laid off to other sales roles, moving into real estate, doing all the calls, do you have a part of your goals holidays? Or like I know for me, quite often I'll get stuck in just thinking about work all the time, and my partner won't necessarily think that that's the right thing to do, but I probably similar to you, I struggle to turn that off. Do you when you do you have holidays always been a thing, or did you feel like at a point you started earning those holidays? How have you been able to fit in those times where you switch off and sort of relax with the family as a group?
Um, the routine that I've developed over the last 4.5 years, January 1st, my family and I, we sit down with a calendar for the entire year
Awesome.
and we plan vacations.
Awesome.
Okay, we're away. We're going to be away in August. We're going to be away in March. We're going to be away in Christmas, in December.
Mm-hmm.
What weekends do I need to be home? Oh, let's take this long weekend here. Let's do this. Here's a holiday. Let's book this off.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Birthdays for the kids, family functions, all of that I mark off. And then I look at my family and I said, okay, is there anything else we need to add to this? No,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Okay, great. So now outside of that, are you okay with me working every day now on this list? Right? No,
Yeah.
well, everything that hasn't
Sure.
been marked off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everything that hasn't been marked off, I'm working that.
Yeah.
Right. We already planned, okay, come home early these days. Okay, great. What day you want me to come home early? Oh, let's do the middle of the week. What is early? 4 o'clock or is it 3 o'clock? Let's go for 4. Okay, great. So once a week, once a month, I'm taking the Fridays off, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming home early on Wednesday. All of that is marked off in my calendar.
Mm.
I give that now to my assistant, who now puts that in my annual calendar. Everything that is remaining, I go to work.
And I guess the interesting thing for me, now that you run a team and now you run a brokerage, I know that a lot of people don't feel that way. Like they're happy to just turn off at any given point and they have to sort of push themselves to work. At the moment, you're going to be working, you have to push yourself to stop working.
Yeah.
When you see people walk into the brokerage or as part of your team, what is it that you see in them where you say that person's going to be successful?
It's the desire. It's the desire to be successful. And not only desire, but the willingness to put in the work.
Mm.
Right? Because of social media, where we are, everyone wants instant gratification. Could you imagine if a farmer wanted instant gratification? I planted the seed today and I want fruits today.
Yeah.
Right? So being willing to put in the work. And so as the leader of the brokerage, we're going to teach you how to buy and sell more homes. We're going to teach you how to build a massive life.
Mm-hmm.
You also need to want it more than I want it for you.
Mm.
Right? That has to be a desire, a burning desire in you, because I'm going to see the potential in you and I see potential in everyone. And I want greatness for everyone that we're in partnership with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want that for yourself, I can't help you that much there.
And so when you're hiring for your team or for your brokerage, are you generally looking, it's desire and work ethic? They're the main things.
Desire, work ethic, culture. We're looking for people who are hungry, humble, and smart. That's it.
Mm.
Everything else we can teach you.
Mm.
You're hungry where, this is what I want. I'm going to go after it. I'm humble where I don't know all the answers and I'm going to ask. Mm-hmm. Smart, not necessarily IQ, but EQ. You can read a room. You know how to talk to people. Mm. Everything else we can teach you. We can teach you, how to write a contract, the required scripts. But that's who we're looking to be in business with. People who are hungry, humble, and smart.
Awesome. And look, we're close to wrapping up at this stage, but I guess the one question I have for you is there what one thing do you think you started doing differently that allowed you to sell a hell of a lot more property? If there was like a switch moment where you just went, I started showing up in this way, I started doing this activity, I started doing X, what was it that allowed you to just start getting much better results?
It's when I started working for my customers, my clients, being more specific to their needs and not the next paycheck. Mm-hmm. The moment I started pouring into all my clients and finding out, oh, and your son, I'm now listening and we're talking and your son likes Lego. Okay, when I'm coming back, let me just bring a small box of Lego. And I started pouring more into them. My business flourished. Jim Rohn, and I guess I'm quoting Jim Rohn a lot here today. You know, he said, you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. Right? So the moment I made that switch and really pouring into them, finding out what are their goals and helping them achieve that goal, the money came. That was it.
Awesome.
That was it.
And so I guess the good thing that you have now is that you have a team, you have a brokerage, you get to do exactly the same thing with every person that you work with as well.
Absolutely. It's pouring into every one of our agents. Every one of our agent partners is pouring into them. What are your goals? Okay, great. Your goal is to sell, to sell 7 homes. Great. We'll show you how to do that. I'll hold you accountable to that. Your goal is to sell 700 homes. Fantastic. Let's put together a system around that. Your goal is to have a vacation, 1 week every month. Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's leverage. Let's get you help, an assistant, an admin. Let's get you that. So it's allowing everyone to achieve their goals. And as the leader, I achieve my goals.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to cover off on?
Attitude is important. The way there's a saying, your attitude determines your altitude. How you show up every day determines, how high you're going to go. And coming from that place of gratefulness, I might not have everything that I need today, but I'm darn grateful for everything that I have so far.
Awesome.
Right? I'm grateful that I was able to wake up today. I'm grateful for the business. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for the mentors that are in my corner. A lot of things I don't have, and that's okay. Here are the things that I'm grateful for. And I think spending more time in gratitude opens up us for so much more.
Awesome. Well, Colin, thanks very much for your time today. Certainly a pleasure sitting down with you. And I look forward to eventually being able to come over and see you again.
Maybe I might be traveling to Australia before that, but we'll see.
Sounds good.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
There you go.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
Cheers, my brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.